Hello, Jennifer Priest here, and I want to share with you today a fun project using Craft Attitude printable craft film. So I created this really fun, like tattered vintage type banner to hang on my front door using Craft Attitude. So I printed out an image from the Graphics Fairy. You can get her images for free online at thegraphicsfairy.com. I printed that onto my Craft Attitude film, and normally if there's words, you want to print your image backwards. But on this project, I'm actually going to adhere my image to the back side of the fabric. So it's okay that my words are right side up here because they'll be right side up on my end of my project. So I'm just using a Xyron glue stick here to kind of add adhesive all over my piece of Craft Attitude film, and then I'm going to lay this really pretty gauzy type fabric that has these little gold embossed dots on it onto the Craft Attitude and press it really well so that it can adhere. This fabric I got in the remnant section at Joann's, and I bought it as part of my Under 5 Craft Challenge, so where you go to the craft store and buy things for less than $5, and then I have a week to create with it. So you can take that challenge, go to my blog for more details. I'll put a link here in the video. So here I'm just taking that image once it's been transferred onto the fabric and laying it on top of a piece of muslin fabric that I also got in the remnant section. I'm just kind of roughly trimming around it. I'm going to pin these two things together, kind of sandwiching that Craft Attitude film in between the two pieces of fabric. And then I'm going to use my sewing machine to stitch around this and to add some free motion stitching, free motion quilting to that Craft Attitude image. So here I'm just going to stitch around the perimeter of the fabric, making sure that I catch both pieces of fabric and that Craft Attitude film in my stitches, and this is going to kind of help hold everything together and stabilize it. And then as you sew around the perimeter, you can remove the pins too, because they'll get in the way when you're doing your free motion stitching. Now, I don't have a free motion foot for my sewing machine, but you can purchase them. I just took the presser foot off of my machine and then lowered the feed dogs. And you can look at your sewing machine manual to see how to do that. And then I took my image and put it in upright on my machine, and then I just kind of freehand moved it around and followed the edges of the image as I wanted to outline them. So I outlined the dress and the girl's face, and then I also outlined the flag that's on the image, just kind of using this technique to reinforce certain areas and also to draw attention to certain details. And then I kind of swirled around and made swirlies and spirals and stuff in areas that I wanted to really bring out detail, like on the flag. So again, it's a lot easier to do this if you have the special free motion presser foot, but if you don't have it, just take your presser foot off and lower your feed dogs, and you should be able to do some free motion stitching that way. Now, once you're finished stitching, just trim around the edges with some pinking shears, and that's going to help it not to fray so much. And then I took a wood dowel. You can get like 10 of these in the craft store for 99 cents, and I just tied ribbons to it, and then I also wrapped thicker ribbons around it. And these ribbons are kind of bright, but we're going to use ink and paint to distress them. So just keep covering the dowel until it kind of creates a little, filled in like curtain of ribbon. And then I sewed 2 little strips of ribbon to the back of this banner so that I could tie it onto the dowel so it kind of hangs. And then I also used some more of that really skinny white ribbon. This ribbon's from the Ribbon Retreat. And if you look back a few videos, I think like 2 weeks ago, I did a hop, or actually it was about a week ago. And there's a discount code for the Ribbon Retreat. But anyways, I use this thin ribbon to create kind of a hanger here on the dowel so that I could hang this on my front door. You could hang this from a wreath hanger or hang it on your mantle or wherever you want to hang it. Now, once all of that is sewn, I took a craft knife, and I just kind of cut open some sections of that kind of thin fabric so that I could rip it and tear it and make it a little bit vintage, but also to reveal some of the color on that really pretty graphic and the Craft Attitude film. So I wanted this to look kind of like a worn, tattered, like vintage little flag banner. And what's nice about this craft knife is it's really sharp, so you don't have to press that hard. So I didn't actually even cut the Craft Attitude film. I just kind of snagged the fabric a little bit and cut that. But if you cut the Craft Attitude film, it'd probably be okay. So again, I just cut certain details I wanted to really show up, the face, the dress, some of the words, and some of the edges to, again, make this look very worn and tattered. You can also cut some pieces of the fabric out so that you could reveal more of the detail so that it's not obscuring the view of the image. Then I took some like creamy, yellowy colored fabric paint and just painted it onto the ribbons and also onto the fabric just a little bit. And this is going to give it that vintage effect, but also kind of make the brightness of the ribbons a little bit duller, but also help it to kind of blend in with that yellow, that golden yellow color that's in the graphic itself. So if you have ribbon that doesn't particularly match, that's okay. Just use a little bit of paint. And then also I'm going to use some pigment acrylic eyes ink. This is a product from Clear Snap, and I'll use that to do some more distressing as well. So first I'm going to add this paint, this coat of acrylic paint here. Make sure I hit all those ribbons, get that brightness toned down so that I get a nice vintage effect there. And you also want to kind of check to see how everything hangs, you know, if there's ribbons that are sticking out that need some detail on them. So here's that acrylic pigment eyes ink, and I'm just kind of splotting it. It's an eyedropper, so you kind of suck the ink into it and then fling it at your project, or you could drop it in certain places. And I just use that same foam paintbrush and then my hands as well to help spread that ink around and give a little bit of a gilded effect and some kind of vintage feeling to this project. I wanted it to look a little bit aged, and this gold eyes ink really gives a nice pretty aged effect. It's very, very warm colored ink. So thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this project. Continue on the Craft Attitude Hop this week. Bye.